Welcome, Fit Family. It's your favorite chef, Odera, bringing you bacon and Parmesan Brussels sprouts. This is a really nice recipe. Full disclosure, the Parmesan is optional. It tastes good even, without the Parmesan. And I genuinely feel like even the most staunch Brussels sprouts hater will cave into this recipe. So let's get right into it. You're going to need a bag of Brussels sprouts. You're going to need half a pack of bacon. Be sure to get uncured bacon. It's really important because when you cure meat, that causes cancer pretty much, because you're putting nitrates in the meat, and nitrates cause cancer. So get uncured bacon. You're also going to need garlic salt. And you're gonna need some Parmesan. As you know, I always go with shaved Parmesan. It really doesn't matter what kind of Parmesan you use, or if you use it at all. But I just always go with shaved Parmesan. You're also gonna need a frying pan, a knife to cut the bacon with, a 1/4 cup measuring cup if you are gonna use the full amount of Parmesan, and a 1/4 teaspoon. All right, familia. So first things first, we're going to open the bacon and cut it. Usually, one thing you'll notice throughout this channel is, for the most part, I don't really know what will happen in the future, but for the most part, I tend to use the same serving size of main ingredients. So anytime I use bacon, I usually use like half a pack of bacon. And part of this comes from, the way that the nature in which I developed these recipes. I used half a pack of bacon because I was cooking for 2 people at the time. So first we're going to use half a pack of bacon. Keep in mind, with uncured bacon, because it's not cured, it doesn't last as long. So if you are going to, cook this recipe today, you may want to double the recipe so that you cook all the bacon quickly and it doesn't spoil. Or you just may want to plan to cook another bacon recipe the following day so that the bacon doesn't spoil. All right, now that you've cut your bacon, we're going to place it on the stove. So I really do expect to, have, a video dedicated to how to cook certain meats like bacon and chicken breast, not the canned chicken, and like beef and all that stuff. But, in case you don't feel like watching that video, basically what you want to do is just space out the bacon, give all the bacon its own space. So you want to get a very wide pan. I probably should have mentioned that in the beginning, but whatever. You want to get as wide a pan as possible. If you don't have a very wide pan, it's really not the end of the world. If the bacon overlaps, it's not the end of the world, but for the most efficient process, you do want to space out the bacon and give it its space. As the bacon cooks, it will shrivel up and, create space around itself. And the bacon fat will kind of seep out. But yeah. So a quick reminder, you want to cook bacon on medium heat, maybe medium high. Like I always say, I love to cook on the highest heat possible because, I don't have time to waste. But bacon, you need to let it cook slowly. Allow it to take its time. Otherwise, it will burn too quickly and char very quickly. So you want to use like medium high heat or just medium heat. Again, most stoves have a number system from like 1 to 10. I usually go for like 7, maybe 8, but like really 7, and you won't be disappointed. I also don't like to flip my bacon too much. Usually just like maybe 2 or 3 times. The first flip, I'm looking for some color on the edges, like a brown edge. And then in the second flip, which I think you'll see very soon, I'm looking for more color throughout the entire backside of, the flipped bacon. If not, then I will just let the bacon sit a little bit longer, which I'm not sure if that's what I do in this. Yeah, that's exactly what I do in this clip. I was like, it's really not enough time. I guess you can flip it and then you'll end up flipping it again, but I don't really, I'm already very impatient. I don't really see the need of like waiting, or rather over flipping. So here you can see the bacon has shriveled up a little bit, so it's a good time to flip. It can be annoying to see the bacon like curl up on itself, but don't let it vex you. Just flip and trust the process. Side note, this looks like a very calm process, but I assure you that I was getting stung with bacon grease throughout every flipping session. It just comes with the territory. You could argue that I should probably use a better utensil than a small little fork, but I don't know, like a lot of times when I use like a bigger utensil to flip something like bacon, it's just too clunky to get the job done. Sure, the fork, transfers a lot more heat and gets me closer to the fire, but I don't really mind too much. Anyway, we made it to our second flip. I think now is the third one, and even though some of the edge bacon doesn't really seem ready. Wait, am I gonna let it cook for a little bit longer? I feel like I'm about to take it out. Am I? Suspense! Okay, no, this is just another flip. So I guess we're on flip 3 or 4. I don't even know. I think it's flip number 2. 2 or 3. I don't know. I feel like midway through this flip, I'm realizing that it's time to take it out. Because something that definitely happens is like sometimes the edge bacon is not ready. And if that's the first one that you check, you might misjudge that the rest of the bacon is also not ready when it is. I'm trying to get like a nice clip of like what your bacon should look like. What you're looking for is like, enough color. You don't want anything that's burnt, because when food like burns and you see that char, that's carcinogenic, so it causes cancer. And we don't want cancer, family, so, no need to get your bacon super crispy. I promise you that when you cook your bacon to this level, it will crisp up after you, take it off the heat and let it sit for a while. If you want it extra crispy, you can cook it a little bit longer, but don't go crazy, because, it's just not worth it in the long run, okay? It's just not worth it. You just want a nice, color, that little, like, tan, But anyway, set your bacon aside and allow it to just kind of chill. Wow, I should have put this clip first. I'm really surprised that I didn't, but that's what happens when you film and cook at the same time. Really, you should have microwaved your Brussels sprouts first, because that will save a lot of time. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, obviously, but it will save you a lot of time if you microwave the Brussels sprouts before you cook the bacon. And I think, honestly, even if you microwave it after you cook the bacon, like I accidentally did, you'll still make it within the 15 minutes or less club. Actually, hold on. That's not true. Bacon takes forever to cook. That's absolutely not true. You have to cook it first. But yeah, had it not been for the fact that I was filming, I promise you I would have done the Brussels sprouts first. It's just filming and cooking is such an experience. Anyway, just follow the microwave instructions on the back. What you'll see here is me attempting to drain the Brussels sprouts, because when I originally created this recipe in Las Vegas, the Brussels sprouts that I used accumulated a lot of water in the bag, and I had to drain it. Otherwise, if you take it directly to the hot bacon fat, you'll get a lot of splatter. But for some reason, these are Brussels sprouts that I bought in El Paso, Texas, and they just don't have any water to them. I was kind of surprised, but it's great. I mean, it's easier that way. I still wanted to keep this clip in because your Brussels sprouts, if you steam them in a bag, they might have water in them, and it's better to drain it than to throw it in the hot bacon grease and have chaos ensue on your stove. Okay, so if your bacon fat has cooled down, you want to heat it up. Otherwise, if it's already still hot, you can just go straight to adding the Brussels sprouts. I do think that when you add, food or like vegetables or even meat to hot oil, it aids in the browning process. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is a part of the Maillard reaction, which is something I had to learn in organic chemistry and surprisingly forgot afterwards. It has something to do with I don't know. Anyway, let's take a moment to appreciate what Brussels sprouts are bringing to the table. 12 grams of fiber, which is really, really great. So yeah, basically what you want to do is just cook the Brussels sprouts in the bacon fat. At this point, I'm going to add, who knows? I want to say 3/4 teaspoons. Yes, I do remember this. So I originally added 3/4 teaspoons of garlic salt. And something that you'll see later on in the video is that I set aside some Brussels sprouts and bacon for my mom because she doesn't eat cheese. So I set aside some for my mom, and then I added an extra 1/4 teaspoon. Wait, hold on. You know what? Let's just let the video play and see what happens, honestly. Mind you, for those of you who are silently judging me, I just want to let you know that I firmly believe that a lot of the garlic salt that I added in this recipe got quote unquote lost in the bacon fat, which doesn't, it doesn't really end up in the final plate. Like when I transfer the contents of the pan to the dish, I don't, add all the bacon fat. It's not really necessary. So I think that the reason why I added so much garlic salt, not that it's that much more than like most of my other dishes, but I think one reason why I added so much garlic salt is because a lot of it just kind of ended up in the bacon fat, which I wasn't eating directly. Okay, so we're on our 3/4 teaspoon of garlic salt. Also, side note, always make sure that when you're adding, especially something like spices, that when you add it, you're leveling the spoon. Because if you add like a heaping 1/4 teaspoon, you might really be adding 1/2 teaspoon. And so if it comes out too salty, it's not really my fault. It's just the fact that you didn't level your teaspoon. It's really important in terms of being able to replicate a dish. Now here, I just want to highlight how creamy these Brussels sprouts are. You cannot fake this. Did you see that? It's so delicious. It's so delicious. I really do love Brussels sprouts. When they're done right, they're delicious. Let's see if I add another 1/4 teaspoon of garlic salt. I think I do. I really do think I do. Alas, we added the last 1/4 teaspoon. Now, here's my take on it. Full disclaimer, I tend towards saltiness, so, and that's not a good thing. But when I added the last 1/4 teaspoon, I really do feel like it kind of made the dish just right. And then I set some aside. I think in the next clip you'll see me like cut up the bacon and yeah. But then I set some aside for my mom, and that's like one version of the dish. And I think in that version of the dish, a full teaspoon of garlic salt is okay. Like, she didn't have any complaints. She's very quick to tell me that I'm salty. Like, she's very quick to tell me that the dish is too salty, honestly, which I appreciate. But when I added the Parmesan, I just kind of felt like, okay, I wish I didn't put so much garlic salt in the dish, because the Parmesan has its own flavor and its own salt. So bear that in mind. If you are going to add the Parmesan, I would suggest only adding 3/4 teaspoons of garlic salt. But if you don't want to add Parmesan, then 1 full teaspoon should be just fine. And ultimately, always remember that, the amount of salt that you add to a dish is entirely up to you. If you think that, you should double the salt, I am 125% against that. That's too much. If you want to cut the salt in half, that's also your prerogative. I fully believe in allowing the main ingredients to speak for themselves. I just think, salt just gives them that extra boost that they need. But yeah, so here is what the dish looks like if you don't add the Parmesan. I think it's really a good dish in its own right. I don't really think it needs Parmesan. I remember when I made this for my brother, he preferred it without Parmesan. And he's not really against cheese at all. Like, he just prefers it without Parmesan. So there's that. But if you do want Parmesan, I didn't even really feel like the dish needed the full 1/4 cup of Parmesan. That was just kind of, if you really, really were craving cheese that day, then, that was kind of the most I would give it. Also, I just want to point out that, you definitely do not need to add all that, add the bacon fat to the dish. Totally not necessary. I don't know. Even if you want to use it as a dressing, I wouldn't add all of it. But yeah, here's what the dish looks like with Parmesan. I didn't even add the full 1/4 cup of Parmesan. Because I knew I was going to eat this dish and I didn't really feel like eating that much Parmesan. But yeah, I just kind of wanted enough for aesthetic purposes and garnish. It does taste good. I really like Parmesan. Parmesan also has a lot of protein in it for a cheese. I mean, harder cheeses I think have more protein than softer cheeses. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it works. It's just ate one. Okay. Yeah, so this is what the dish looks like. I hope you like it. Comment, rate, share, subscribe. Do what you need to do to get this channel viral. And yeah, here's the price per meal breakdown. Here are the nutrition facts. I hope you're having a lovely day and a lovely week. Bye.